you doing? I'm CK with UPP Turbo Systems, and today we're going to be going over some of the revisions to our C7 kit. Now these revisions are fairly minor. We did a little bit of reworking to help make the downpipes in that fit a little better, and the main thing we're going to be actually going over is going to be the oil return system on this. So before we went from each of the turbos, teed it together, and then went over onto the passenger side of the pan. What we're doing now is we're going to run individual returns for each turbo to both sides of the pan. Now, this is going to require you dropping the pan because on the driver's side, you're not able to actually get in there with a drill. So it's not too difficult though. Just suspend the engine, drop the subframe, pull the pan out. We'll drill both sides, and we'll go ahead and show you what that looks like here in just a minute. All right, now starting over here on the passenger side, this is going to be laid out very similar to how we had it in the original design. So this side over here is got the 26-inch line with a 45 and a 90. The driver's side is going to be two straights on a 24-inch line. So the driver's side's a little bit shorter, two straights. The passenger side is the 45-90. The 45 is going to go up, coming off the turbo, and basically we're just going to come straight off the bottom of the turbo with the 45. That's going to kick it back. We're going to go right over the top of the steering rack here, come down the side of the engine, and we're going to tap into the pan right here. Now we'll show you where we're tapping in the pan here in just a moment. For the driver's side over here, we're going to come straight off the turbo. We're going to come down a little bit lower on this side, and we're actually going to come right under the ABS module that's mounted here, straight across back, and then into the pan here. Now for both of these, when you actually go to set it up, instead of just looking at where we're putting it and drilling and tapping in the pan there, it's best if you actually mount the oil return lines to the turbos, mount up the turbos, get everything set in there first, run the oil return lines down where they're going, and then mate where it's at on the pan, where it's lining up with. Because if you drill it a little too far forward or a little too far back, your oil lines might not line up. But if you actually lay it out with the oil line, you'll get an exact location of where that oil line is going to hit on your pan. If you're not hitting in the same locations that we are, that'll let you know, hey, maybe you're going around something that you shouldn't be, or you went under something you shouldn't have. So the layout on them, like I said, though, is pretty easy. This one's just basically, they're both just going to come, drop straight down, and go 90-degree backwards with the bend of the line itself. Now, it is important, we don't want the line at any point to be ramping back up. So we don't want to drop down as we're coming back and then back up to the pan. That'll create a low valley spot in there. The oil's going to build up in there, and then it won't actually flow properly. So we want to come out of the bottom of the turbo, nice smooth transition, somewhat flat but still trajectory downwards. So we'll go ahead and go over the layout and show you exactly what it looks like up inside there. All right, now you can see our line here is wrapped with heat wrap. It's going to be that silver line. That's going to be coming with a 45 slightly in and backwards, coming right off the turbo. And that's going to go right above this steering gearbox here. Again, that's just going to go flat right along the engine here. And then we're tapping into our oil pan. Now the oil pan here is tapped in. If you've got the dry sump, it's going to be right above that. It's actually in between these two bolts here, just a hair back from that forward one. That's another important thing. If your oil line, when it comes back here, is lining up under a bolt, that's not right. It should be in between bolts, and that's on both sides, because otherwise you won't be able to get the bolts in or out, or get the fittings in or out, and make sure we have it screwed on. So we're going to bring it back here, and we want to tap it into the oil pan as high up as we can without this fitting running into the rail right here, because obviously we need to be able to spin this fitting freely and tighten it down. So we're going to come just a hair below the fitting, or below this rail line here, making sure that the corners on this, when we're screwing it in, aren't going to hit it. So again, taps in right here. All right, now on the driver's side, we're going to come straight off the turbo. You can see it, that silver line right up in there, and that's going to come back down, and we're going to shoot right here. It's going underneath the ABS. This is the bracket for the ABS module here, where it's going to go right under the ABS module bracket, and you can see it coming right back through here. This is just going to again level out and go straight right back to the pan here. All right, and that's going to tap into the pan right here. Now this is going to be your oil cooler assembly. Just in front of that, we have one oil pan bolt. This is going to tap in right just forward of that oil pan bolt that's right there. Now this one's a little bit special of a fitting, and you can see it's really tight in here. This is the one where we're not going to easily be able to get a drill and tap up in here. So what we're going to do, again, lay out the oil line first, figure out where it's coming to down on here, mark our spot, and then what we're going to do is we'll suspend the engine, drop the cradle out of here, we'll drop the oil pan out of it, and then we'll drill and tap in the oil pan. All right, now for the passenger side, the oil line is going to come down, and then we're going to tap into the pan. That's a 3/8 NPT, that's National Pipe Thread tap, going into the pan on that side. The driver's side is going to be a little bit different because we don't have enough room to get a fitting in there plus a 90-degree bend. So we're going to actually be using this guy here. This is a 7/8 by 14 millimeter thread. So we're going to drill and tap the pan with that. And then this is actually a bulkhead fitting that will screw right into the pan itself. It comes with the PTFE washer that's going to seal it up, and then that leaves us a -10 facing forward here as a 90. Now this does swivel on there, so it gives you the ability to tighten it up. Again, when we tap both these in, make sure that these corners here are going to be below that edge, because you don't want to be hitting this on the edge of that oil pan, but we do want to get this mounted basically as high on that oil pan as we can. And again, lay out your lines first, mark the oil pan, and then drill it. You don't want to drill the holes in the wrong spot, because that's going to make a big mess of things. Other than that, it's fairly simplistic. The oil lines just come straight down, drop back, and 90 into the pan itself.